Welcome back to International Star Media, the Gold Star Standard, at the Gold Star Standard. Reactions, reviews, and news you can use. Once again, I am your host, International Yada, for the record saying the dollars. And hey, check it out. You seen the thumbnail. Sentenced 35 years to life. Don't do it. Leave those minors alone. Dealing with minors is a major problem out here. I suggest you find something legal to do. Find something safe to do. Take heed to these stories. Looks like some people would like to learn the hard way. Let's get straight off into this. Richard Babb arrested for multiple sex crimes. Check it out. Las Vegas. A man has been charged with multiple sex crimes related to trafficking underage victims, kidnapping, and soliciting a child for prostitution. The suspect, identified as Richard Babb, right here, this guy. An arrest report reveals police pulled over a reported stolen vehicle and observed two occupants in the back seat, one a juvenile and the other a male. And we're gonna stop right here for a second, because this is where you went wrong, Mr. Babbs. An adult riding around with another adult and a juvenile, underage minor in the back seat.
What?
There's no reason for that. Absolutely no reason for that. But let's continue. The officers believed the juvenile was engaging in prostitution. Police learned the man solicited the juvenile, offering to pay $150 for sexual intercourse. Over the course of the investigation, detectives determined there were two individual victims involved. One of the victims told the police she and her friend met with Babb through Snapchat and spoke to him over the social media platform. And this story after story of exactly like this, with adults, usually male, a lot of time female also, but where adults are approaching juveniles, minors, underage victims on these social media sites, whether it be Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, and they constantly get caught up. Well, you make your bed, you lie in it. You don't want to be like this guy right here, Richard Babb, with that busted look on your face. This is what you don't want. Let's continue. The report said Babb agreed to give marijuana in exchange for oral sex from the two victims. Babb eventually coerced the underage victims into prostitution. And it's the word right here that we keep going over. But it seems for some reason, these fools just won't take heed. It said Babb eventually coerced the underage victim into prostitution. Once again, force, fraud, coercion, violence, and or the threats of violence could get you up to life in prison. You can receive up to life in prison if you're found guilty of sex trafficking, human trafficking with the elements of force, fraud, coercion, and or the threats of violence. Pay attention and take heed to this. Dealing with minors is a major problem. He wanted to be out here and play pimp. That's not what pimps do. Sounds like what you were doing was playing pedophile. Because that's what that makes you. If you deal with underage children, you're a pedophile. Okay, let's move on. Check this out.
A Las Vegas man now has been charged with multiple crimes. Police say that he lured 2 young females into prostitution and a third girl into committing a sex act. Well, according to the arrest report for 20-year-old Richard Babb, he met his victims through a popular social media platform in February. Well, investigators say that one girl told police that her friend and another girl met Babb and performed a sex act in exchange for marijuana. Well, Babb was taken into custody over the weekend.
Now, at the time of this news story that you just watched, and we'll play it again, Richard Babb was 20 years old at the time of his sentencing, which was just a few days ago. He's 24 years old. Take heed. I'm gonna take this from the top.
Charged with multiple crimes, police say that he lured 2 young females into prostitution and a third girl into committing a sex act. Well, according to the arrest report for 20-year-old Richard Babb,
You heard that? For 20-year-old Richard Babb, sentenced to 35 years in federal prison, up to life. Don't throw your life away. Take heed.
20-year-old Richard Babb, he met his victims through a popular social media platform in February. Well, investigators say that one girl told police that her friend and another girl met Babb and performed a sex act in exchange for marijuana. Well, Babb was taken into custody over the weekend.
Check it out.
Well, it started with a sex trafficking case, and now there's another battle involving allegations of threats and intimidation at the courthouse.
The 8 News Now investigators first told you about convicted pimp Richard Babb. Only our camera was inside the courtroom as some unexpected witnesses took the stand, including the former governor's daughter.
Richard Babb hides from our camera Tuesday morning. This is supposed to be the sentencing for the now convicted pimp, but his attorney says he plans on arguing for a new trial, leading to a delay. Babb faces at least 35 years in prison after a jury found him guilty of 10 counts last April. Prosecutors say he victimized 4 underage girls, exchanging marijuana for oral sex from a 13 and 14-year-old and sex trafficking 2 other teens. In addition to fighting his criminal conviction, Babb is fighting to have his family in the courtroom. In January, there was this hearing to put the issue on record.
I deem them to be a security risk.
Longtime Deputy Marshal Randy Hawks also describes personal attacks.
They called me things like that.
Instead of arresting the family, district court marshals told them to leave.
One of them told me, would tell me, I know where you live.
There was extra security for the jury and victims. This advocate alleged intimidation by Babb's brother.
He was almost like a mad dogging. He was staring directly at her.
And in a rare move, Babb's previous defense attorneys testify.
I think one of
the ex-governor's daughter testifying against this man. The guy that's about to speak is his lawyer. This was his lawyer on one of these cases, testifying against him. Take heed. You make your bed, you gotta lie in it. You better know what you're doing out here before you end up in a situation like this. This man was fighting to get his family into the courtroom while he was sentenced. Remember now, he was locked up since he was 20. Found guilty on all charges. Let's go.
I'm gonna kick your ass.
Adam Vanderhayden, who withdrew from the
I'll take this back a little bit.
One of them told me, would tell me, I know where you live.
There was extra security for the jury and victims. This advocate alleged intimidation by Babb's brother.
He was almost like a mad dogging. He was staring directly at her.
And in a rare move, Babb's previous defense attorneys testify.
I think one of them said, I'm gonna kick your ass.
Adam Vanderhayden, who withdrew from the case,
He started calling me names, called a fraud, a liar, a thief.
describes this encounter with Babb's family.
They followed me down the 14 flights of stairs, yelling at me down the stairs.
And a previous special public defender also stepped away from the case.
His mom stopped me and said, "Oh, good morning, Miss Sisolak. So you park here?"
In an ironic turn of events, Ashley Sisolak, the daughter of former Governor Steve Sisolak, is questioned by prosecutor Morgan Lombardo.
So this is the daughter of the former governor of the state of Nevada, testifying against him in the Nevada courtroom. Interesting.
Sisolak, the daughter of former Governor Steve Sisolak, is questioned by prosecutor Morgan Lombardo, the daughter of now Governor Joe Lombardo.
Did she or any of his siblings ever bring up your family?
Absolutely.
Who did they bring up?
Specifically my father.
And what did they say about that?
That he should be ashamed of the child he raised, that I was a disappointment not only to him but to the state of Nevada, that I'm a deplorable person, a disgusting human being, and that he is the one that has to sleep at night knowing he raised someone like that.
Babb's family tells another story.
It's your testimony here today that there was never a destruction that you caused in court.
That me?
Yes.
No.
From his brothers to his mother.
You love your son, Richard Babb, is that correct?
With every fiber of my being.
And you would do everything you can to protect him, is that correct?
Everything legal and according to my Heavenly Father.
They allege they are the victims, while the Clark County District Attorney's Office points to a pattern of rule breaking. Judge Michelle Leavitt previously revoked phone and visitation privileges after prosecutors said Babb discussed threats to witnesses. Her next decision will be whether Babb should get a new trial, but prosecutors say it's time to move forward with sentencing after multiple court appearances and an especially tense case.
Babb is still not allowed to communicate with his family from jail, but his attorney can make a formal request to change that by filing a court document so this can be addressed in court again. Vanessa Murphy, 8 News Now.
Should have never had that juvenile in the car riding around. It all started when he started dealing with minors. It was a snowballing effect after that. Straight downhill.
Babb's next court date scheduled for March 11th. At this point, his family isn't facing any charges related to what has now unfolded in court. Denise?
Okay, let's get to the sentencing. As you can see from the thumbnail, he was found guilty and sentenced 35 years to life in prison. Let's go.
A convicted pimp is heading to prison after a contentious court battle. It's a story the 8 News Now investigators have been following very closely.
Vanessa Murphy has more on why the defendant may not have helped himself before learning his fate.
This is Richard Babb.
I'm a warrior. I'm a survivor.
He's convicted of sex trafficking children, sexual assault, and more.
I'm not a stupid person.
He's here in a Las Vegas courtroom Tuesday for his sentencing.
Might not be a stupid person, but you made a very stupid move when you decided to deal with a minor. Take heed. If you out there and you watching this and you can hear my voice, take heed. Don't do it. Leave those children alone. Leave those minors alone. Find something legal to do. We're going to take this from the top. Let's go.
To prison after a contentious court battle. It's a story the 8 News Now investigators have been following very closely.
Vanessa Murphy has more on why the defendant may not have helped himself before learning his fate.
This is Richard Babb.
I'm a warrior. I'm a survivor.
He's convicted of sex trafficking children, sexual assault, and more.
I'm not a stupid person.
He's here in a Las Vegas courtroom Tuesday for his sentencing.
I want the world to know what's going on.
He claims he's been wronged. He calls court marshals criminals, says his previous attorneys didn't do their jobs, and interrupts Clark County District Court Judge Michelle Leavitt.
Let me tell you something. When I talk, you're not going to tell me that I can't interrupt you.
While prosecutor Morgan Lombardo speaks,
He acts like he was in love with her to make her think that she was doing the right thing. Says it.
Babb belches out loud. Lombardo continues.
I hope y'all paying attention and listening. She said he acted like he was in love with her to get her to do what he wanted her to do. That's coercion right there. What she's saying is that he coerced her, a minor, into prostitution. You can receive up to life in prison for that. Don't do it. Let's go.
Acts like he was in love with her to make her think that she was doing the right thing. Says it.
Babb belches out loud. Lombardo continues to argue for a sentence of 57 years to life in prison, saying...
So the argument from the prosecution was for 57 years to life. He received 35 years to life. They wanted him to get 57 years to life. You make your bed, you gotta lie. By law, if you are caught dealing with a minor, they'll throw you away. You can receive up to life in prison. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. You shouldn't be dealing with minors. That's the end of that. You should not be dealing with minors. But hey, check it out. We'll be doing more stories like this. Unfortunately, we will be covering more stories exactly like this one. Adults dealing with minors. Take heed. Don't do it. Leave those kids alone.
Babb belches out loud. Lombardo continues to argue for a sentence of 57 years to life in prison, saying each of Babb's 4 victims should be considered.
Left her on Tropicana to go have sex with adults, where he would retrieve the money for it.
She says Babb met 2 victims, 12 and 13-year-old girls, on Snapchat to initially try to sell them marijuana.
He was the adult.
They said he targeted extremely young girls at that, 12 and 13-year-olds. Come on, man. They say he targeted 12 and 13-year-old girls on social media sites. Leave those kids alone. Don't do it. You make your bed, you gotta lie in it. This man was arrested for this case at 20 years old. He's 24 years old right here in this picture where he's getting sentenced. So he's already been locked up for close to 4 years of his life. He was just sentenced to 35 years in federal prison. Don't throw your life away. Take heed. Right here. Here's the story. It's right there. Take heed. Do not do it. Like I said, unfortunately, we will be covering more stories just like this one this year, 2025. Let this be a lesson. for you not to deal with minors. It's that simple. Just don't do it. Or end up like him, Richard Babb.
Met two victims, 12 and 13-year-old girls, on Snapchat to initially try to sell them marijuana.
He was the adult to go into a children's home to collect them, to give him a blowjob.
Babb still tries to argue for a new trial. He doesn't appear to accept responsibility or show remorse. Leavitt sentences him to 35 years to life in prison.
But I know at the end of the day, everything's going to be okay.
You heard it right there. 4 years later, after being in the county jail fighting this case, the end result, sentence, 35 years to life in federal prison. Now let this be a lesson to you out there. Find something legal to do. This is not it. Don't follow in the footsteps of him. That's for sure.
God has all this.
Babb will receive credit for time served. That's close to 3 years he's already been in jail. As for the soonest he could be released from prison, well, he's 24 years old now. He'll be close to 60 years old.
He's 24 years old now. He'll be close to 60 years old before he's up for parole and or supervised release.
Credit for time served. That's close to 3 years he's already been in jail. As for the soonest he could be released from prison, well, he's 24 years old now. He'll be close to 60 years old. Reporting in downtown Las Vegas, Vanessa Murphy, 8 News Now.
International Star Media, the Gold Star Standard. At the Gold Star Standard. Reactions, reviews, and news you can use. Once again, I am your host, International Yada, for the records and the dollars. And hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share the videos. I appreciate everybody for watching, everybody that subscribed, and we will see you on the next one.